first of all, congratulations for the movie. I think it's my favorite Bridget Jones sequel.
Oh, thank you very much.
So my first question is, what motivated you to join to the Bridget Jones universe?
Well, to me, I knew from reading the book of Mad About the Boy that Helen wrote that there was going to be an opportunity here in this film to make something that we hadn't really seen in the Bridget universe, which is to mix the tone of comedy and lightness and fun and, you know, all of that exists with something else, because it's really a story about a woman who has to learn how to live her life again after a great loss. And those two things combining as a filmmaker is fascinating.
You come from independent cinema, from directing dramas like To Leslie. How does this experience help you to direct this film? Because, as you said, I think it's the most emotional and dramatic film of Bridget Jones.
Well, yeah, it's great to hear that. I mean, this is a very different experience from making a tiny independent film like To Leslie. But I think I approached this, and my fellow filmmakers, you know, my cinematographer and designers and editor, we approached it a little bit like you would approach an independent film. Keep our eye on where the emotional points are that we really want to touch. And the biggest partner that I had in this was Renee. I mean, Renee understood absolutely that we wanted to stretch what Bridget Jones can be here. We just wanted just enough so that people can not just laugh but also feel. And so I think, like, when you're making a tiny film like To Leslie, which we shot in 19 days total from start to finish, you have to keep 100% focused all the time on the tone of the film you're making. There's no time to get to stray, really. And I think that approach helped us here.
Was it difficult to combine Renée Zellweger to return again as Bridget?
Well, no, I think because Renee's always said something which stays with me, and that I say as well now, which is, you know, as long as we have a compelling reason to tell a story, that's why you want to tell a story. It's not enough to say, let's do another Bridget Jones just because we can. You've got to have a story to tell, you know, and one that really, Bridget, is the best way to tell it. And so, yeah, Renee was fully ready to come back.
And how did you manage to mix the drama and comedy elements of the film?
Because I think, you know, to me, drama and comedy, you know, it's like the ancient mask, right? Comedy and tragedy. They're two sides of the same thing, and it's just all feeling. And so, you know, our job in this film, I think, was to create a story where you would really invest as an audience, and sometimes laughing and crying. You do it in the same moment if you have actors that are skilled enough. Fortunately, the whole cast is capable of that.
What would you say are the key to get a good chemistry between actors in a screen?
Oh, that's interesting. Chemistry is a very kind of it's like magic, isn't it? You don't know if it's going to be there until you get there. Although I was lucky enough that we were able to rehearse large parts of the film, so I could see that the actors were just going to spark. The new actors were just going to spark. And frankly, Renee's one of the most warm and generous actresses you could ever find. So she and Chiwetel instantly became like, oh, I can see exactly what that's going to be. And equally, Leo is such a charming person as well that there was never a chance that we won't get something.
And how did you manage to introduce the death of Mark Darcy in the film? Because I think it's very clever the way that he is still present in spirit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. At the beginning of the film, Bridget isn't really dealing with loss. She's just keeping Mark close. So whenever she needs him, she turns and he's there. It's not exactly that he's not a ghost, he's a figment. He's there with her. And so I always knew it was very important to have him in real presence. I wanted the audience to see him in real life, as it were, before they even knew that he was dead in the film. And then, of course, his presence lingers over the film in other ways too.
In America, the movie releases first on streaming in Peacock and the next day goes to cinema. And I want to know your opinion about this strategy, because I think it's very unusual and it breaks the rules of film industry.
We're in a new era, obviously, with film and film distribution, all of that. I mean, I would say that as a filmmaker, I make it for the screen. Yeah, I'll always make something cinematic. And this is a film that, as you say, is released everywhere in the world and in the biggest screens. I believe it's a communal experience to see it. It's very important. If you can see it in the cinema, please see it in the cinema. But the film at the very beginning was, I think it was co-financed by Peacock. We all knew that in the US, for whatever reasons, they're very clever that they have. There are certain things about streaming which, it's disappointing not to see it on a giant screen. That said, streaming is, it's available. It's always available, and you can watch it when you're ready to watch it. I just want people, when they watch films on streaming, to be very disciplined and put their phones down and, watch it the way that you would in a cinema.
Would you like to continue directing more Bridget Jones movies, or do you think this is a good point to end the saga?
Well, this is the last chapter because, it's the last book that Helen wrote. But I feel like there's always more room for another Bridget because she's one of us. She's a human and we all keep living, so yeah.
To end the interview, what do you think audiences are going to enjoy the most of Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy?
I hope that they'll have fun, because I think it is a fun experience to go on this ride with Bridget, even though, because I believe that experiencing emotions is fun too, in a different way. So I think that people come ready for everything you love about Bridget and be open for more.